So in this video, I'm going to be discussing spoilers for Demon Slayer Season 2 Episode 10, also known as Episode 3 of the Entertainment District arc, and the title for this episode is called What Are You? And this episode is scheduled to release on December 19th. This episode will cover Chapter 73 and beyond of the Demon Slayer manga, with the most recent episode covering Chapters 71 and 72. In the most recent episode, Tengen the Sound Hashira took Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke to the Entertainment District so that they could go on a mission to find Tengen's 3 wives, whose names are Suma, Makio, and Hinatsuru. His 3 wives were sent to each individual house, with Suma being at the Tokido house, Makio at the Okamoto house, and Hinatsuru at the Kyogoku house. Tengen sent his wives to these houses to gather information so that they could investigate the district, which supposedly has an upper rank demon living there in disguise. To not stand out while going on this mission, Tanjiro and the others disguised themselves as females so they each can be taken into the 3 houses where the 3 wives were being kept in. Tanjiro was taken at the Tokido house with his cover name being Sumiko, Inosuke at the Okimoto house with his cover name being Inoko, and Zenitsu at the Kyogoku house with his cover name being Zenko. Towards the end of this episode, Inosuke at the Okimoto house overheard 2 women talking about Makio and remembered she is one of Tengen's wives. The 2 women worried about Makio not wanting to leave her room and claiming she was unwell. Inosuke began to speculate on the information and proceeded to walk down the hall towards Makio's room. Inside the room, Makio is revealed to be tortured and held hostage by a demon. The demon had questioned Makio about the letters she was writing and who was she writing to. That's where the episode ended, and now I'll be going over the spoilers for the next episode titled Who Are You? While being held hostage by the demon, Makio tries to come up with a plan to try to escape. However, the demon senses Inosuke snooping in the hallway and decides to make an escape and hide. Inosuke then senses the change in the atmosphere and quickly rushes into the room, discovering the room had been destroyed, and senses the demon hiding in the ceiling. As the demon tries to escape, Inosuke begins to give chase and rushes down the hallway. As he prepares to turn the hallway, he decides to punch the wall in order to pull the demon out. However, when he swings, a customer comes out of nowhere and accidentally gets punched into the wall by Inosuke. The staff of the Okimoto house are then horrified as Inosuke continues to look around to find the demon, but then gets frustrated after he loses sight of it and blames the customer. Meanwhile, at the Kyogoku house, Zenitsu begins to search for Hinatsuru, one of Tengen's wives. He decides to use his advanced sense of hearing in order to listen to try to find any information. As he listens closely, he overhears a girl crying and rushes to find her. When he arrives, he finds a young girl in a room that's destroyed. He approaches her, but she begins to cry again, causing Zenitsu to frantically try and comfort her. As he's kneeling on the ground, Zenitsu gets the chills as he senses something approach him from behind. It's revealed to be the Orion of the house named Worobehime. She glares down at Zenitsu and demands what business he has in her room. Without turning around, Zenitsu recognizes the sound that she's giving off is not human and realizes that she's the demon that the demon slayers have been searching for. Worobehime angrily repeats her question after Zenitsu fails to respond, and the other girls of the house explain that she's new to the house. Zenitsu attempts to apologize and explains that he was just checking on the girl, but this angers Worobehime, who rudely calls Zenitsu ugly and creepy, leaving him shocked. Worobehime then looks around the room and sees that the room is still a mess and pulls the girl who was crying by the ear, causing her to yell out in pain. Unable to put up with the abuse, Zenitsu grabs Worobehime by the arm, demanding that she lets go of the girl. We then get a flashback of Worobehime and the manager of the Kyogoku house, Omitsu, holding a meeting 2 nights before the demon slayers arrived at the entertainment district. In this flashback, Omitsu explains to Worobehime that she has to restrain herself from bullying the other courtesans of the house, as she expresses her frustration towards Worobehime, saying that she's gone too far, but Worobehime guilts her by mentioning she brings the money into the household. Omitsu then becomes nervous as she mentions a story she heard from an old lady when she was a child, and explains that the old lady had remembered a courtesan who was extremely beautiful but had a terrible personality. The courtesan was the Orion of their household and had been around since the old lady was a child, and was very similar to the Orion the old lady saw when she was an adult. Coincidentally, the Orion's names both ended in the letters H-I-M-E, which is pronounced Hime, and they both had a nasty glare when they were displeased or upset. As Omitsu continues to elaborate, she notices the similarities between the old lady's description of the courtesan and Warubehime. As Omitsu started to get suspicious of Warubehime transforms into her original appearance as Daki and pulls Omitsu out of the house. As they fly into the night sky, Daki holds Omitsu by the face in midair and remarks that the people around her had managed to survive by remaining silent on the atrocities they've witnessed until tonight. Omitsu then fearfully raises a knife, revealing her intentions to kill Daki. However, Daki scolds Omitsu for being more stupid than she believed and immediately drops her from midair to the ground, which results in Omitsu dying. Daki then lands on a nearby rooftop and returns to her room as the citizens discover Omitsu dead on the ground. As Daki enters her room, she discovers Muzan waiting for her and she humbly greets him. Muzan comments on her appearance and speculates she's eaten a large amount of humans, as he proudly congratulates her but warns her not to act recklessly. Daki follows his orders and receives information regarding the possible arrival of the Demon Slayers and is encouraged by Muzan to become even stronger and crueler than she ever was before. The flashback then ends and returns to the present situation of Zenitsu confronting Warubehime. She becomes angry and slams Zenitsu into the wall, making him unconscious. She then demands that he never touch her again and says that she requires harsh discipline. All the commotion causes Omitsu's husband to rush over and apologize for Zenko's actions, but begs her to forgive him as they prepare for customers. Warubehime then has a sudden change of character and apologizes to the manager while he quickly orders for her room to be cleaned. As Warubehime leaves the room, she has her doubts about Zenitsu and realizes he isn't an ordinary human and might possibly be a member of the Demon Slayers. As time had passed, she returns to her cleaned room as she laughs sinisterly to herself as she openly welcomes the idea of Demon Slayers arriving to the district, promising she'll eat all of them. Meanwhile, at the Tokido house, Tanjiro looks into the night sky uneasily and says that the town at night has a dark and murky smell. Back at the Kyogoku house, the manager is informed of Zenko's sudden disappearance as a staff member explains that she had disappeared after being left to rest. However, the mention of Zenko angers the manager and he tells the staff member to forget about Zenko as he expresses his frustration at having to submit to Warubehime's desires. Meanwhile, on a rooftop, Inosuke can be seen explaining the demon he saw in the Ogimoto house to Tanjiro. Inosuke's description of the demon and the frightening look on his face worries Tanjiro, and he tells him to calm down until Tengen and Zenitsu arrive for a meeting. Tengen then arrives undetected out of nowhere and says that Zenitsu will not be arriving, as he also mentions that he might have put all of them in immediate danger. So those are all the spoilers for season 2 episode 10, also known as the third episode of the Entertainment District arc, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. And once again, this episode is scheduled to release on December 19th. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.